G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Chinese assault rifle as part of the Project Bygone Weapons group of weapon mods. This one seeks to recreate the Chinese assault rifle that was from Fallout 3 and put it into Fallout 4, making it as immersive and, I guess, nostalgic as possible. The first thing I've noticed about this is that the charging handle is on the wrong side. Back in Fallout 3, you'd pull the charging handle on this side, but it's been transferred over. The ejection port still appears to be on the correct side though, so it's not going to be spitting shells this way, which is nice because that's not good for your wrists or wherever the hot casings may fall. But taking a quick look at this thing, it's not just like a spitting image of itself back in the Fallout 3. It's even got the really grainy, harsh looking wooden handguard and grip there, so it's a pretty decent looking weapon and looks just like it's been sitting around for 200 years in some dingy, dark wasteland dungeon. I know dungeon doesn't really work for this, but it's where you'd find it in a Fallout game. In an RPG, it's in a dungeon, so that makes sense. This thing has a little bit of customization. The damage here is not spectacular. I expect that to be one of the things that changes, but let's just go over the attachments and we'll talk about its numbers in a second as we go along. So advanced receiver, this thing can only be fired in automatic fashion. 84 damage is not a lot. Even the vanilla game assault rifle gives you just over 100 damage with these same perks that I'm running right now, so not a great sign, but let's move on. You can have a shorter barrel there, so you can have a short barreled Chinese AK, or even a longer barrel, which will increase your accuracy and VATS over range, increase your range stat. That's always helpful to have at a cost of your AP. That's fine. And here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So you have the standard furniture if you want to keep this thing looking like it was in Fallout 3, but there's a whole lot of extra customization options here, including a good old shovel stock there, possibly inspired from the Nuka World DLC. I like the light furniture. The infantry furniture is cool, and the support furniture makes it look just a little bit more like an RPK or perhaps an RPD with the full wooden stock. I'm thinking we'll go for the light furniture because it sticks like a westernized almost AR-15 M4 stock on the back of that, and we gotta have a cursed weapon. That's just what I do, and that hasn't got a texture. Maybe we won't be seeing that in third person, but yeah, okay, again, work in progress. That'll probably get a texture as we move forward. But oh, that actually changes it to a black polymer material on the handguard as well. That's awesome. If only it was replicated for the stock. The coffer magazine is just a big fat one that are sort of stacked as like that. Lots of ammo capacity, so we'll throw that one on. And you can have the standard sights like you would in Fallout 3, although you could never use them, and we'll definitely check out this thing with just the standard iron sights to right that wrong of Fallout history. But there's also laser sight versions, reflex sights, advanced reflex sights, marksman reflex sight. That's interesting. And scopes, mediums, long range, recon, night vision, you name it, it's there. That's a gigantic night vision scope. I suppose that looks kind of like what the old night vision scopes look like back on the AKs from other mods that I've seen in them. And there's some muzzle attachments, compensators, muzzle brakes, suppressors. We get 105 damage through Ace Operator should we chuck on that suppressor, so that's nice. And before we forget, we should probably put on some reflex sights. We'll go for the marksman's one because I quite like the shape of that. I don't mind it. And there's a legendary effect slot if you want to, and you can have a different finish. So standard, Gobi, Infiltrator, or Purge. And it says, the paint job of the Purge, a force that are, as of now, relatively unknown. Are they already in the Commonwealth? That's what it says for those of you who can't read at home. I'm confident that we can beat the Purge, so nobody panic, we'll be fine. And that is it for the attachments. Obviously, this thing being in early access, there's no way to craft this thing yet, so you got to use console commands. But as of now, this early access isn't extended to everyone, so I won't go over it. But before I forget, just a big thank you to Alex for giving me the opportunity to see this mod early, and hopefully my critiquing of what I've seen so far isn't too harsh. But there's going to be more thoughts going along. But so far, the numbers-wise, I think we could be doing better in damages just to make it keep up with what is in the vanilla game already. And the Chinese assault rifle was more powerful than the Western foul-looking thing in Fallout 3, so maybe you could use that kind of logic as a baseline for it. But there you go, suppressed advanced Chinese assault rifle with the Purge paint. Looks pretty cool. Alrighty, so we'll be starting today inside of Gunners Plaza because there's less gunners to kill. It might be a little bit easier for the Chinese Assault Rifle to pull through. But this is the full Chinese Commando Purge Paint Spec Assault Rifle, complete with a marksman's reflex sight, which is a little bit off-center. Perhaps the calibrating of this thing is not done well in the past 200 years, and a suppressor on the front too, which is fun. And this is what this thing looks like in third person. It's an interesting looking weapon because it looks like all of the proportions that are originally in this weapon back in Fallout 3 have returned, despite, you know, the characters and player models being slightly different. So it's almost more of a one-to-one port, and a lot of nostalgia looking at this thing in third person, despite that charging handle being on the wrong side. But that's kind of cool. Let's get into some actual shooting and we can talk about its DPS for a moment, because this thing fires pretty slow compared to your standard Fallout 4 guns. This thing is firing at about, I don't want to say half, but it definitely feels a lot slower than everything else. A couple of things going for you though when you're using this thing. There's basically zero recoil, and if there was a lot of recoil, it'll be slowed down by the rate of fire anyway, so that'll be fine. But despite all the weapon bouncing and jumping around on your screen, like you see, there's not a whole lot of drift that you see, so some cool recoil animation showboating, but the weapon is controllable and it feels good to use, which is always a plus. So we'll go up close range and start hitting these guys. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like the Chinese Assault Rifle had a slightly higher rate of fire than this, but man, I can't remember. And the sound of it now, I'm not sure if that's custom or if that's just they've used some, like, maybe 10 millbits, because the sound that this made back in Fallout 3, it had a very, it had a metallic clang and a big pop as it shot. And they've sort of replicated that, and it sounds really good. And this, obviously, the suppressed noise of this thing is going to be, that's just a standard 10mm pistol sound, so maybe that's where I'm thinking this thing sounds like a 10mm pistol from. But we'll continue to be a stealth Chinese commander here. All I'm missing is the stealth invisibility catsuit that the commandos would wear, but we don't need that. Now, question is, any of these bastards gonna grab that bloody grenade launcher? No, because I got it. Now I have it, and they can't use it against me, so I won't get ragdolled across the room. It's killed me every single time. Anyways, let's go. We actually didn't kill him before he got a shot on us to trigger ricochet there. And I think it's high time we use this thing in VATS. So as you can tell with the reflex sight, this thing is fairly on the generous side when it comes to the amount of shots that you can get. And the criticals on this thing do pretty well as well. So perhaps in the future, there could be modifications on this that could really enhance the VATS playstyle of it. I mean, there already are attachments to do that. I've chucked on a reflex sight, of course, but maybe you could get some receivers that could do that, like an automatic calibrator. You don't usually see those. They added them in Fallout 76. They called them like tweaked receivers or something. But yeah, maybe we could see something in that direction. In terms of what other things you can add, I'm not really sure. All of the muzzle sort of things have been done pretty well. Maybe you could add some elemental rounds to it, or just put some nice cool words like full metal jacket rounds or subsonic rounds to be used with a suppressor, you know, so you're even more sneaky when you're using it with a suppressor, as I think of things to say instead of shooting that gunner in the face. That's fine, we can just walk off that plasma that he shot directly into our gullets. That's fine. Okay, so the animations in this thing are really good, but a problem in third person is, well, Carla must be a stick and I've got her stuck in first gear. She can only walk at this speed. I can't even walk from side to side. So, obviously that might be a problem that'll be obviously going to be ironed out, but perhaps that's just some of the animation issues that this thing currently has. And it happens with the suppressed commando spec version as well. So yeah, either we need to get a new clutch in Carla, or there's some animation difficulties. And there you have it. That was it in Gunner's Plaza. We'll have one more little run. Perhaps we will put on the Chinese stealth catsuit and use this commando rifle to kill everything without being detected. Good news, it also works with classic holstered weapons as well. Reflex sight or stock untech shoot and all, which is good. I could say it could probably be a little bit higher so you could see the stock. Maybe you could look at what this thing looked like on the backs of your Fallout 3 characters and maybe try to figure out a way to put it so it's in the exact same spot, but honestly they're two different mods and I think you'd have to change what it looks like when you're looking at it in the menus to do that, but it works well with classic holstered weapons. You can wear it and it's a good apparel item. Alright, we look like an infiltrator. I like how there's like wires that are basically just been taped on this thing. Anyways, we've got a stealth field, so that's fun. I've also running the fixes that I made for this thing. So, we're not going to be eating up our... Oh. They found me already. That guy didn't seem to care as much. Maybe he's only pretending to see me. Well, looks like the stealth mission failed at the first run. You know what? That's because I'm not using the one with the suppressor. Yes. See, if I had seen the weapon, I would have known that. But now, we can be cloaked and in peace. Maybe we want to take out that spotlight first. Nah, she'll be right. That's way better. Okay. Perhaps I should have looked at the current weapon I was using at the time, but now we can be silent and deathly. And I know you can't see the rifle right now, but still. I'm basically using the pacification prompt as a reflex sight here. That's just a thing that they haven't fixed ever. Did they fix? No. I feel like there could be a way to make the reflex sight reticule viewable. The way to do it, if you want to do it in vanilla game, is just to use a weapon with a scope. And God help you if you want to use... That was the mouse screwing up again. God help you if you wanted to use stealth suit like this in VR. Every time you crouch, you go invisible. You can't even see anything. Looks like our caution here is not as effective as I'd like it to be. But looks like there's only one person left, so we'll come briefly out of this cloak and squat down. Completely whiff the spotlight there. And there we go. We have successfully infiltrated and killed everything, and we got a duelist metal right leg and whatever that... Is that like a decal thing? A template? I don't know. I got a Boston Bugle as well. And whatever's inside this, who knows what it's going to be. Anyways, I think you get the idea. So the Chinese Assault Rifle, work in progress. I'll take another look at this once it's fully released, but I'm seeing some pretty good things so far. Obviously, the things I change is just making it a little bit stronger, and if you keep the rate of fire like that, I don't mind it. You could sort of have this thing as the assault rifle niche of a uses 5.56 with a slow rate of fire but high damage. So if you place your shots right and make them count, this thing can be devastating. But if you miss, it's more costly than an assault rifle, which will be spitting more of these lead bullets out faster but doing less per shot. Maybe if you could tune them to have like a slightly similar DPS. That might be interesting to see how this mod goes out, but whether they want to listen to what I want or what I would like to see, that's up to them, and maybe that's not part of their vision at all. So we'll see what we get when that mod finally gets released, but yeah, promising signs so far. I don't mind it. Looking forward to seeing this thing in its finished state earlier. And once again, thank you for Alex Raider for giving me access to this mod, and I hope that everyone else found this video nostalgic or possibly insightful. Did you? Better. See you next time.